Hey there, we have like eons of stories to tell, so if you want to follow us along on this journey and keep up with all the stories that we have putting out, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hope you enjoy. Thank you. What's up, everybody? Chad here, and today we're gonna be continuing with Thor: God of Thunder. Um, basically where we left off was Gorr the God Butcher. He basically went back in time to go and do something. He was at Cronux, and he was basically like going into the time pool to go, like fulfill a mission of his. Thor was going to Cronux to like go and chase him down. Past Thor was basically still getting tortured, and old man Thor was still getting his tail beat basically. So here we pick up with Gorr. So he's giving like this monologue, he's going into the time pool basically, and like where he's going is to like the very beginning of the universe. Like he's going to find the very first elder god to go and kill this guy. So when he gets there, he's like looking at all these creatures that the elder god are creating, and they're just like miserable. Like they're deformed. They're already like in endless pain like as soon as they're birthed. And that's something that Gorr like he looks at. He's just like, okay, this guy doesn't even care about what he's making. He's just like making stuff. Like he don't care if these things are like living in torture basically. So let me just go ahead and kill this guy, get him out the way real quick. And when we see him coming back from the time pool, he basically has the heart of this elder god. Now he basically like after he gets that, he comes back to the time guy, and he's basically telling him, okay, I got this. I'm gonna need centuries and a bunch of slaves. Okay, so that's basically like what he's going to do. But when he does that, as soon as he tells the guy that, Thor comes in and slaps him with a bunch of lightning and just like smacks him with the hammer and just like knocks him out, right? So with that going on, the young Thor, right? He's being tortured by Gorr. Gorr's still trying to find out this information, and basically what Gorr's doing here is not so much as physical torture. Well, he's physically torturing him, yeah, like he's like beating the crap out of Thor, but it's more mental. Like it's more mental torture that he's trying to do to Thor, basically make him trying to like break his will pretty much. So he's like talking to Thor, and he's like, okay, you've been here for 17 days and counting, man. Like you've been going through a lot. Like like that's actually impressive. Like no one's ever lasted that long. But think of anybody else that would have been here. All right? Think of anybody else that would have been here. Like just think about that. 17 days. Like imagine you've been just sitting there upside down in chains for 17 days. Like you're getting tortured. Let's say like they cut off a finger or like a toe every day. Like you'll be ready to just like spill the beans like first day. Like Thor, he's just like trying to tough it out, but the thing is, he can't tough it out for long. Gorr's like asking him like where everyone is, like how does he get there? He starts like poking fun, like asking him like, okay, you didn't think anybody else would have like kept you safe this long? No, they would have just ratted you out instantly. And Thor, he's just like he's about to break. He's like, I mean, I honestly don't know anymore. Like they probably wouldn't have. And he just starts like asking him questions. He's like, do you want this to stop, man? And he's like, I mean, yeah, I wanted to stop. And, he started. This is where Gorr knew that he broke him. But as soon as he breaks him, Thor's followers come in. Like all of the Vikings that were like with Thor, they bust in there. So Gorr, they start attacking Gorr, right? But the thing is, Gorr, he's not fighting back. He doesn't want to fight these guys. Like he's basically like trying to like convince them that these guys right here, the gods, they don't care about the mortals pretty much. So with that going on, present day Thor, he just smacked Gorr to the ground. He's like fighting off all the black berserkers, and he's trying to get to Gorr basically. He's trying to stop everything that he's doing pretty much. So while he does that, he ends up getting incapacitated, right? So we go back to young Thor. Young Thor, he's with he's still hanging upside down, and all his followers, they're going to attack Gorr. He's still trying to get these people to stop. Like, no, stop, y'all, this guy isn't worth what y'all are doing. Like, just let me kill him. Like, he isn't even worth it. Like, guys don't care about us. Don't even try to help this guy. And eventually he's just like, all right, done with it. He snaps, and he just like starts murdering these guys. So with that happening, Gorr, he ends up Thor ends up getting like knocked down from the chains that he's in, and he goes in and like he gets like Yarnbjorn his axe, and he slices off the arm of Gorr. This is basically like what he's been talking about this entire time, like basically like talking about how Gorr was always like scared of this cave pretty much, stuff that Thor taught him basically. So all right, when he's doing that, present day Thor, he basically he gets incapacitated. Gorr is basically, he's getting ready to go back into the time pool, and basically he asked the time guy, if he coordinated the pool basically to where it's supposed to be, to where he's trying to go basically. And he's thinking that he's saving stuff. Nope, Gorr cuts. Gorr pokes him through the head, kills him off the spot. All right, so he takes this heart, he goes through the pool. While he's doing that, we'll go back to young Thor, right? Young Thor, he's just letting Gorr have it. Like he is slicing any and everything off. Like he's having tentacles, legs, arms, just like taking everything. Like he didn't want Gorr to do nothing. So Gorr, he ends up like letting off this like large blast, right? Trying to get Thor off him basically. So with present day Thor. Present day Thor, he gets incapacitated by the Black Berserkers, and they end up like like attacking him, basically like trying to cover him up, like trying to swallow him basically. So what he does is when Gorr goes into the time pool, he chases him in there. As soon as he gets in there, like he only went in there for like a second after Gorr. Like Gorr goes in there and then Thor goes in right after him. Like as soon as he gets through there. But there's a problem with that. Okay, so what happened was Thor, he lands in the future, right? He appears, thousands of years later, and like he's just sitting there, and he looks, and he sees this guy that looks like his dad, and he's like Dad, like where is Gorr? Have you seen the God Butcher? And like Thor, he starts telling him like, no, you're not your dad. What? Like just help me with these, like fight these guys off, basically. So, young Thor. But the present day Thor, the one that we just saw, that's basically where we left off in the last video. Basically, when we had the old Thor who got met by the present day Thor, that's how he got there. Basically, like that, it was basically like a little explanation of like where he came from, pretty much. So, young Thor, he's like talking to these to the Vikings. Basically, Gorr had retreated, and he's like, he thinks that he's dead, basically, and like all the Vikings, they're like, oh, okay, Thor, you fought him off, yeah, like you killed that guy, good job, like he's dead. And like Thor, he believes it. He's like, I mean, we can't tell anybody about this, all right? Like, never speak of this again. Never speak of this again, okay? So, present day Thor and old man Thor, they're fighting off all these Black Berserkers. All of them are just getting like destroyed. But they end up like the Black Berserkers. They end up like leaving. Like Gorr the God Butcher. He's basically like bringing them back, like trying to get them to come back. So this is where we get some explanation of like what's going on. This is like the tricky part, the part that actually confused me myself. All right, so what this old Thor tells him is that he came in, he landed in the right spot. Like young Thor landed in the same spot. Well, present day Thor, he landed in the same spot that Gorr the God Butcher did, but he's 900 years late. Like he only went in the time pool 1 second after Gorr, but he landed 900 years after him, basically. So like I still like kind of confused about what that is. And like ever since then, Gorr has been working. Like dude has he has his entire like machine built and everything. Like he has been going to work. Like he has his schemes going on, all that stuff. Like everything is going on. All right, so from there we actually get like a little something more. So we see Gorr, right? He's like sitting there torturing this guy, right? He's torturing this guy, and we actually find out that this is Volstagg. He asked this guy who he was, and basically he's like, I mean, I was Volstagg, the lion of Asgard, pretty much, stuff like that. Talking about who he was, he's no longer the guy, But he's like torturing this guy, he's like, okay, yeah, you shouldn't be stealing bread, and Volstagg, he's just like talking, he's like, I mean, we're living like trash here, like we're eating bugs out of your mind, stuff like that. He ends up like just like talking about that. So he ends up whipping him, and basically he asked him. Volstagg asked him like where the weapon is, what the weapon is that he has. Like he basically like asking him if he knows where it comes from, because like Volstagg, he knows his weapon. Like he knows what it is. Gorr doesn't. He just thinks that it's some like like weapon that just some weapon that he has, pretty much. Like it is way more significant than that. We'll get to that story when we get there, but it's way more significant than that. But he ends up killing Volstagg, and he ends up like hanging him up, and we end up finding out that Gorr actually has a son. Like his son walks in, he's just like, oh well, I'm hungry. Gorr, he's like, okay, well we can't have you being hungry, stuff like that. He goes to feed him, and he's like asking him like when will all the gods be gone, basically? Because so we found out that he actually indoctrinated his kids, basically. And, like his kids, like he hates gods. Like his kid isn't probably even old enough to know what's going on, and he already has the same mindset that Gorr does, pretty much. But if you're new to this story, leave a like. If you enjoyed the story, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.